scratching. Let's get scratching.
Come on, Cantu. FBI most wanted.
I can't see that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the August 19th, 2026 meeting of the Daytona Beach City Commission. We're both happy and delighted to have you with us tonight. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Strickland?
Here.
Commissioner May? Commissioner Cantu?
Here.
Commissioner Henry?
Present.
Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Commissioner Paris?
Here.
Mayor Derek L. Henry?
Here.
And Commissioner May should be back shortly.
Okay.
We will now move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the July 15, 2026 City Commission meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. And for the record, Commissioner May has arrived.
All right, we'll now have the agenda. If there are any changes to our agenda, our city manager will address them.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, adding to item number 8I, zone support funds, Mayor Derek Henry, $1,500 to the upcoming Mayor's Fitness Challenge, $2,000 to the YSG Senior Oasis Program, zone support funds from Commissioner Juanita May, $5,000 to the City of Daytona Beach Police Department for their community policing efforts. Add item number 11D, declaring the results of the August 18th, 2026 primary election to the agenda. Also,
Oh, it is, you mean canceling the
Yes.
meetings? Is 12A.
oh, 12A is not part of the consent agenda, so it can remain. That deals with the meeting cancellations at the end of the meeting that needs discussion.
Mr. Manager, what was the number for the primary election results?
11D, they're adding.
There's 11D on my. Oh, it's already on there. All right, I move that we accept the agenda with the said changes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we'll now move on to item number 6, which is our presentations. Item 6A is the Finance Department Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for the financial year ending September 30th, 2025.
Mayor Commissioners, we're here today for a presentation of fiscal 25 audit. Lindsay Avelis, she's a partner with Carr, Ingram, and Ricks, and she will be presenting audit findings for fiscal 25. So, but before Lindsay starts, I would really take an opportunity and really thank our entire accounting division staff, because it's very labor-intense process, and it takes several months, and amazing work being done to our division. So, and my special thanks to Christine Aiken. She's Assistant Finance Director, and she's really instrumental to the whole process. And now Lindsay will present you findings this fiscal 25.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
There should be a presentation that comes up. There it goes. Okay. So when I presented last year, there was a suggestion that I not just share the PDF, but I put a PowerPoint together. So this year I put a PowerPoint together for everyone, so it's a little easier to see. I'm going to keep it really high level, though, because these financials are very long. It takes a long time to do this audit. We get started usually in August, September, and then we finish it up in the spring. So there's a lot to go over. So first of all, I'm going to get started. There we go. All right. So what is an external audit? So overall, what we do is that we do an external financial statement audit in accordance with government auditing standards. We also look at the city's internal control over financial reporting. We don't provide an opinion over internal control. That's not the purpose, but we do look at every year, and we treat every year separately. We start over anew. We look at the city's internal controls, and we not only ask management, what's your control policy, but we look for examples to prove that it's really happening. So we do what we call walkthroughs, make sure that the policies are really being followed and in place. And then we also do a compliance audit over the single audit. So this year, it changes every year depending on what grants you have, but this year there was 2 federal grants and 2 state grants that triggered the need for a single audit. There's kind of a calculation that goes on, and these were the grants that triggered. So we did compliance audits and did a deeper dive into those 4 grants as well as part of our audit. And then the audit also includes investment examination, which is in accordance with Florida Statutes 218.415. So we look at the city's investments and do some testing over those. And then also the Daytona Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, we do a separate audit of that and do some extra testing of expenditures and some other compliance testing in accordance with Florida statutes for that. But overall, an external audit means that we're given an opinion over the city's financial statements. It's not an audit of every single dollar. That's impossible, but we do look at materiality. We set a risk assessment every year. Again, this is something we start over new every single year. We look at what are the risks of the city. There are certain risks over fraud that are required by audit standards, over revenues, and also over management override of controls, which means basically journal entries. So we always do a deeper dive into the testing of revenues as well as journal entries, looking for anything that looks suspicious and testing more samples over those transactions. Everything is more risk-based and sample-based based on materiality. Each major fund, so every year there's a calculation over what are the major funds for the year, and then each fund has its own materiality threshold as well. So an overview of the ACFR, it was provided to you all a couple months ago. We finished up this audit in the spring. So it's a big booklet I'm sure management gave to you. It's also on the city's website as a PDF. It's 244 pages long this year. It's broken out into introductory section, financial section, which is where all the financial statements are and the notes. And then there's a statistical section, which is prepared by management. It's not audited by us, but we tie out the numbers, make sure they look accurate. And then the compliance section, which is where the single audit reports and any findings that we have and the examination letter are at the end in that report. And then there's also a separate letter to governance that's provided. I'll go over the main thing that's in that letter at the end of this. So our audit opinion on page 15, I'll give kind of page references if you have the book handy or if you need to go back and look. But the second paragraph of our audit opinion basically states that you have an unmodified opinion, which in audit standards is basically a clean audit opinion. And so some people ask, because you do have a couple of findings I'm going to go over at the end of the audit, some people ask, like, how do you have findings but you have a clean opinion? It's because these findings that we had did not materially misstate anything in the financial statements. So there's nothing that is materially incorrect, and so you can still have a clean audit opinion. But that's why at the end of the audit, we have the other reports that detail out the findings that we do have. So some of the financial highlights, if you don't want to read all 244 pages of the financials, if you just read the management's discussion and analysis, it'll give you a really good overview. I'm going to go over some of the highlights in there, but on page 23, I know there's a lot of numbers here, so I'll kind of like read out the main things. So this is basically your balance sheet for the entire city, and it's broken out in governmental and business type and then the total, and it's comparing 25 to 24. So in the far bottom right, you can see that net position, which is like the total equity of the city, increased from $339 million to $386 million. So it's a $47 million increase for the year, which is about 13.8%. And both the governmental and the business type funds had an increase in 25. And then on the next page, page 24 has kind of the income statement. It's called the changes in net position. Same 25 to 24 comparisons, and then governmental, business type, and then the full total. And so main highlights there, your total revenues increased from $272 million to $289 million. Mostly, a lot of that was driven by property tax revenue increases. Total expenses also increased, however, from $222 million to $241 million. A lot of that had to do with some like salary benefit cost increases. You had some more CRA development expenses, depreciation expense, some new first-year interest on the 2024 capital improvement revenue bonds, and then just some general increases in costs with contracts and materials. All right, so when you all are doing your budgeting, you're more at a fund level looking at each year individually. And so the major funds that triggered this year are, of course, general funds always major, and then you had redevelopment trust fund, capital projects fund, emergency management grants fund, and grants fund. So you had these major funds. Starting on page 41 is the detailed financials, but some of the major changes were in the general fund, you ended at a fund balance of $44.6 million. It was a decrease from the year before, about $6.5 million. However, you still had an unassigned fund balance of almost $37 million, which makes up 82.3% of your general fund. And of all the funds, it made up almost 25% of all the funds combined. So in the general fund, you had about a 9% increase overall in revenues, and most of that was driven by property tax values going up and then the revenues going up from that. You also had a 13% increase in expenditures. A lot of that was in public safety and also a lot of capital expenditures. And so those expenditures outpacing the revenues made the fund balance decrease by $6.5 million. And some of those major capital expenditures where you had $1.5 million on the Jackie Robinson ballpark, $5 million. So there's another one that it's a new GASB that came out a couple years ago. So subscription arrangement agreements where you have a subscription that's more than 1 year. At the fund level, according to government accounting standards, you have to expense the whole thing. So there was a $5 million expense that hit this year, but it's not cash going out this year. It's cash going out over the next 5 years. But that's how the accounting standards are. So some of it is non-cash. And so at the government-wide level, it's not shown that way. And so there are some differences between the two. At the redevelopment trust, you had an increase of $291,000, so you ended at just under $21 million fund balance. Had about 8% increase in revenues there because of the higher tax values. And then some increases in expenses, which mostly were capital outlay. You had some land acquisition, and then the Coquina Arch repair, and then some other like improvements during the year, excuse me. And the capital projects fund actually had a decrease of $20 million. Ending fund balance was $35.6 million. The reason for that large decrease had to do with the Jackie Robinson ballpark and the fire station capital project. So about $20 million was spent in 25. So a lot of that showed up in the capital projects fund. In the emergency management grants fund, there's a decrease and also a deficit in that fund of $13 million. It decreased a further like almost $2.5 million this year. That's because you had a lot of Hurricane Milton expenditures. And the thing with those funds is that you, with these grants and expenditures, when it's like FEMA, you have to spend the money first and then get it back later from the grantor from FEMA. So there's going to be a lag, and it's going to cause a deficit for a while because of that. And so every time we get a hurricane, there's going to be more expenses that are going to get spent first, and then you get the FEMA revenues. Sometimes for FEMA, it takes a year, like a couple years sometimes. So, and then the grants fund also has a deficit of $6 million. Most of that happened this year, mostly due to the new fire station project, and then there's some drone replacements and some other projects. So again, when the grant money comes in later, it'll offset that decrease. So, all right. In the business type funds, nothing too major there. All three funds, utility funds, had a really large, nice increase in their net positions. We have 17.8 million, 7.6 million, and 5 million. Most of that just had to do with you had CPI index rate increases over the rates that are being charged every year. And when we do our audit, we look at what the rate increases are going to be. Make sure that we also look to see in the system that the increases that were like plugged into the system are correct too. And so no issues there. And then also the city had a lot more consumption this year compared to the year before because a lot of growth and development in the city. So the consumption is going to keep going up. So in the fiduciary funds, you have the Police and Fire Pension Trust Fund. That has a net position, of course, restricted for pensions. It ended at just under $236 million, which was an increase of $14.3 million from the year before. Now, most of that had to do with the investments performing really well because that fund actually had more benefit payments and contributions coming in, so it would have had a decrease, but the investments performed so well that it offset and you still had an increase of $14 million, so that's good. And then a custodial fund had some asset seizures this year, so we had an increase of $240,000 in that fund. So those are the major funds being reported. in the main financial statements. And I'll go over some of the notes. There's a lot of notes in financials, but some of the major things are page 68. There was a new GASB pronouncement. GASB always comes out with new things, and it changes the accounting a lot. And so the finance department's always trying to keep up with what's coming down the pike. But this year, the compensated absences calculation changed a little bit. It didn't have any drastic impact, however, on your liability. It didn't change too much. It kind of depends on the policies of each city. Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up. We've seen most of them go up, but for your city, it didn't have a drastic impact. Now, coming up this year in 26, in about a month, there is a new pronouncement. It's called GASB 103 Financial Reporting Model. So there are going to be some changes to the ACFR. And what's going to happen mostly is that the MD&A is going to get restructured a little bit. It's going to have like 5 major sections, and it's going to talk more about why things happened and not just stating facts. They want management to kind of describe in more detail like what happened and why. And then also the utility funds are going to have some changes in their line items. So this is something we'll work with finance department to make sure, like we have trainings that we offer at CRI, and we always invite your finance department to make sure that they have the trainings, and then like provide them the PDF slides so that they have a step up in their head in these pronouncements so they can get them implemented. All right. So another note I wanted to point out, those deficit fund balances that I talked about earlier, it's usually something people are interested in. Now, there are a couple other small funds that have deficits. However, those first 3, the fleet, employment, and property, those are all internal service funds, and they're just providing cost recovery to other funds. And so management's already working on like making sure those small deficits get evened out this year, but it's all internal stuff. So there's really no concern there. And then I already talked about the grants and the emergency management grants fund. So those should get corrected in the future when the grant money comes in the FEMA. So, and then deposits and investments, I always like to kind of point out. So the city has $327 million in cash and investments at year end in 2025. And if you look at the first line item, cash deposits, $251 million, that's about 77% of everything. And so it's a really conservative balance. And also, all that cash is in qualified public depositories, so you don't have to worry about credit risk. You don't have to worry about making sure you don't go over the FDIC insurance $250,000, which is so small. These are qualified public depositories, so that money doesn't have risk. And then these other investments that you all have are highly rated investments as well, and they follow the city's policy. So, and as part of the investment examination, we pull some sample transactions, and we test to make sure that any like transfers or purchasing or selling investments have approval and they're going through the correct order of everything. So there's no issues there. Note 9, long-term debt. So this first table is just the government activities, and there's a lot of numbers there, but the main change there is that in your governmental activities debt, you had a lot of pay down of general obligation bonds and also the notes, so that's good. You had just payments, and nothing too major there. But in the business type, on the next table, there was an increase in the state revolving fund loans. 17 million was added this year. However, the SRF loans are very, very low interest. They're the best type of debt that you can have. Plus, you're investing the money in revenue producing infrastructure and the utility funds, which are, as I stated earlier, producing revenue. So I don't think it's too concerning to be taking the state revolving fund loans for that, for the improvements and maintenance. So, all right. And then subsequent events, when we finish up our audit, we still kind of look at meeting minutes and what's going on in the city up until like that point between year end, September 30th, and then when we issue our audit, there's always several months. And so note 19 always kind of goes over like what happened in that time frame. We didn't audit it, but this is what's coming up. So there was some long-term debt that was approved for the capital improvement note. And then there was a Minto settlement to pay back some rebate of permit fees. And then there's also an added amendment to a grant agreement for $5.3 million for the fire station. So those are things that happened in that time frame. All right. Now in the back of the ACFR, all the compliance section reports, the single audit has this one-page summary of kind of all the findings that we had. Financial statement findings, we did not have anything that rose to the level of material weakness or significant deficiency. So those are both a no. But federal and state projects, we had a couple of findings. So I'll get into those. So the first one is grant reporting. and this is for Department of Homeland Security grant. And so what happened with this one is that there are quarterly reports that are required to be reviewed before they're submitted. And when we asked for support, those reports were submitted timely and everything, but we couldn't see that someone reviewed it, like someone else prepared it, and then so there's segregation of duties between who's preparing it, who's reviewing it, and then who's submitting it. We were told that there was a review happening, but as auditors, we can't just base our testing on what people tell us. So we didn't see the documentation, so the department's going to work with the finance team to make sure that that documentation is being retained and that they can provide it to us months later. And then the second grant had to do with eligibility over the SHIP grant. There were some approved applications for individuals. They didn't technically meet the requirements for the program as outlined by the city's eligibility requirements. It had to do with how many liquid assets these individuals had, and there's 2 people that we came across in our testing of samples, and it turns out that there was an inconsistency with the compliance requirements and then the city's LAP agreement. And so there was no question cost that came out of this, which is the most important thing. So we just kept it as a control finding that the compliance requirements need to match up with the city's plan, and then making sure that there's review and approval over these eligibility. There was a review, but it got missed in the review. So we need to make sure that those eligibility requirements are accurate and actually being reviewed closely to make sure no more ineligible people get through. So. And then for other findings, there is a management letter that is required by the state of Florida Auditor General. And so, first of all, our other findings related to grants last year were all cleared. And then there are some other findings that did not rise to the level of the first letter that I just discussed. And then a lot of those findings were cleared. However, one was repeated this year, the unexpended building permit fund balance, which I know has been a discussion a lot of how to resolve that. And so the gist of the finding is that there's an unexpended building permit that is a carry forward balance. And this all started when there was a new Florida statute that came out in 2019. And it kind of came out quickly and no one was prepared for it. And a lot of cities were out of compliance right away. And that's what happened to Daytona. So the finding keeps getting repeated because there's no quick and easy way to clear it when it's millions of dollars and you didn't see it coming. And so I know the city has tried to do different things over the years, like waiving fees, cutting fees, and stuff like that. And other cities do things like build a building permit, building if you can do that and spend the money down. So I know legal has to get involved because the way the Florida statute is written, this was a problem like initially when it came out. It is not written in accounting terminology at all. And so it's kind of vague and hard to determine like what exactly is it referring to, because this specific fund that it's affecting has things like capital outlay and like other things that are budgeted each year, which you would think because they're budgeted 1 year at a time, being it's a modified accrual basis fund, that's part of operations. And that's how the statute's worded. And so there's some disagreement over how it's calculated. The way your city has been calculating it historically matches up with many other cities. Either way, though, there is a carry forward balance no matter what way you look at it. So it is something that needs to get resolved. So do you have a question? You look like you've been, okay. So I know you all are trying to work on that. So it's just been a repeat comment for a couple years. And JLAC has started to really hound in on this and send everyone letters. So you're not the only city that I have that's getting the letters because, again, like I said, you can't like fix it really quick. It's millions of dollars and you're restricted on what you can do. And that's the problem because it's a strict restricted fund. So you can't just go spend it on other stuff in another fund. So that's what makes it really hard. So, and then at the end of the report, we have our investment examination report, which just states that you had no findings over the investment testing that we did. So, and then in that required communication letter that is issued separately, that was provided, there's just one past audit adjustment that we had. What it had to do with is that there was some timing of grant receivables got kind of, I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but the grants have different periods of availability. And so one grant was unavailable, another one should have been recorded. So overall, all these amounts netted out, and the net difference that would have affected your financials was 21,000. And so we're like, it's fine. Like, we'll just show it as a past audit adjustment because it doesn't have enough of an effect over the financial statement. So it's just something we'll track. And we always look at grant timing and cutoff like every year. So, and then I just want to end with, you do submit for a Certificate of Achievement of Excellence in Financial Reporting every year. This is a third party. It's the GFOA that reviews these, and they have different people that review these every year. And you got an award last year, so this ACFR will be submitted for award. We've been getting the award for many years, so I know that they do a really detailed review as well of the ACFR, and they can't not have comments. They always come up with like comments or questions, and then they send it to the finance department, and then we get together with them to try to figure out like what we can correct. But it's very minor this past year, so you do have an external party that's reviewing your ACFR to make sure it's in compliance with GASB standards and audit standards. So, but any questions on that note? No, it's kind of a lot. I tried to keep it short, but it's a lot. 244 pages. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much.
They're always listening. So we're going to move on to item number 7. This is citizen comments, and during this time, citizens have the opportunity to address the City Commission on any item on the consent agenda. Looks like I have one speaker, Mr. Doyle Lewis.
Commission. My name is Doyle Lewis, Daytona Beach, United States. I'm just going to touch a couple things here, just 3. F8, Police Department, pedestrian bicycle safety, high visibility. That should be always in today's thought process when you're dealing with sidewalks and traffic control. Slowing down traffic in all areas, especially with our new e-bikes and the new laws that are being put out there for safety. State roads in city limits usually do have sidewalks. Outside the city limits, they might not. There's a lot of younger riders that's getting on these e-bikes and acting like they're doing dirt cross around the area and around the high schools and junior highs. I've been watching. Some of them are getting hurt. So that was my main one. The other one is 8E. Police Department understanding the standards of public safety. That is a big one because a lot of times one department and the other department don't want to step on each other's toes, but at the same time you have to understand the safety aspects of the roads that crisscross between the city streets and the state department. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, that was my final speaker for the consent agenda. Gonna ask Madam Vice Mayor to. Yeah, and that was my only speaker for the consent agenda, so.
Are there any questions from the commission on the consent agenda? Is there a motion? Hearing none.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, it's been properly moved in second that the consent agenda is approved. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Naysayer, same sign. It passes. The mayor will now regain his seat.
Okay. We're going to move on to item number 9, which is our public hearings and quasi-judicial hearings. Item 9A is the Growth Management and Planning Department Mueller-Dorr Small Scale Comprehensive Plan Amendment. This is an ordinance on second reading public hearing. An ordinance adopting a small scale comprehensive plan amendment in accordance with section 163.3187 of the Florida statutes with regard to 3.08 plus or minus acres of land located at 1075 Mason Avenue, amending the future land use map designation for from office transition and retail to entirely retail, amending the future land use element neighborhood L development policy to limit allowable uses within the subject property, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. I don't
What's the
know.
motion on that? I'm sorry, I missed it. Henry?
Commissioner Henry and
Paris. Okay. And I have Mr. Rob Merrill here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
all right, do we have any, no questions, no comments? All right, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Moving on to item 9B, it's a Growth Management and Planning Department Mueller-Dorr Plan Development General. This is an ordinance on second reading quasi-judicial hearing. An ordinance amending the zoning map of the Land Development Code to rezone 3.08 plus or minus acres of property located at 1075 Mason Avenue from Business Retail 2 BR2 to PDG Plan Development General, approving the 1075 Mason Avenue Mueller-Dorr Plan District Agreement to allow warehouse and wholesale uses within an existing professional office development, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the agreement, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Henry and Reed.
Okay. And I don't have any other speakers, and I do have Mr. Merrill here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
No questions, okay. No comments? All right. Motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 9C. It's the Growth Management and Planning Department, Volusia County Emergency Medical Services Headquarters. This is a semi-public use permit. This is a resolution public hearing. A resolution approving a semi-public use permit to allow Volusia County Emergency Medical Services to locate their headquarters with offices, training facilities, and fleet maintenance services on 4.42 plus or minus acres of land located at 1720 Mason Avenue in the BA Business Automotive and T5 Tourist Highway Interchange zoning districts in accordance with section 3.4.H of the Land Development Code and providing an effective date.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Henry and Commissioner Parrish.
Okay. And I do have speakers.
All right.
My first speaker is Jim Corbett. He's the County Facilities Director. And then I have Steve Buswell, the engineer, here to answer any questions.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Commission. I'm just here to answer any questions you have on behalf of the county. Good to go. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Then I do have one public speaker. It's Mr. John Nicholson.
314 Grandview Avenue.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. In the 90s, Charles Cherry and I had a little discussion on properties in the city of Daytona Beach and those properties that were off the tax roll. So I went to the tax assessor and found out that the city of Daytona Beach had almost 28% of our property off the tax rolls. That affects our bottom line. In the ensuing years, Ormond Beach Hospital decided they needed a new building. Only Ormond Beach didn't want the building in their city because it would be off the tax rolls. So naturally, they put it in the city of Daytona Beach. A few years after that, the school board decided they needed a new maintenance facility for their buses. Holly Hill and Ormond didn't want it in their cities, so it ended up in the city of Daytona Beach. We end up with a lot of state, county facilities, all right? 20 years ago, Edith Shelley was upset that all of the services for the homeless were located in the city of Daytona Beach. They were off the tax rolls and caused a tremendous amount of problems for us. So it's not that I oppose this. it's the idea that the city of Daytona Beach has a limited amount of space for taxable property. To put a huge portion year after year off the tax rolls will have an effect on our bottom line. And there is an amendment on the ballot that's coming up that will affect the amount of money coming into the city. So the more land we take off the tax rolls, the worse it's going to be for us. Just FYI. Thank you.
That was my only speaker, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 10, which is our introduction of ordinances. This is for city commission comments and questions only. Item 10A is the Growth Management Planning Department First Amendment to Cornerstone Plan Development General. This is an introduction of an ordinance on first reading. An ordinance approving the First Amendment to a Cornerstone Plan District Agreement to modify the scenic thoroughfare overlay buffer standards, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the First Amendment, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. And are there any questions or comments from the commission on this item? Okay, the public hearing and final action is set for September 9th. So now we're going to move on to item number 11, which are administrative items. Item 11A is the Growth Management and Planning Department Boardwalk Redevelopment Temporary Parking. This is a resolution. A resolution approving a 2-year extension of the temporary redevelopment parking lot located at 41 North Ocean Avenue in accordance with Land Development Code Section 5.4.C.13, repealing all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith and providing an effective date.
So move.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll take Cantu and Reed.
Okay, and I do have Mr. Rob Merrill here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
No questions of Mr. Merrill? Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
I'm going to move on to item 11B. It's the Permits and Licensing Department Permit Fee Waiver Extension Resolution. A resolution extending the expiration date for the building permit fee waiver established by resolution number 2026-92 and providing an effective date.
So move.
All right, we have a motion and a second. You have any other questions or comments? All right. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Moving on to item 11C, it's a Permits and Licensing Department recalibration of permit fee schedule. This is a resolution. A resolution adopting a revised fee schedule for building permits to bring current fees in line with the estimated annual costs of enforcing the Florida Building Code, repealing all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
So moved.
All right. We have a motion and a second. No questions or comments, no speakers? Okay, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 11D. This was our addenda item. City Clerk's Office declaring the results of the 2026 regular primary municipal election. This is a resolution. A resolution declaring the results of the August 18, 2026 primary municipal election for elections by zone for city commissioners for Zone 3 and 5, submitting Juanita May and Steve Miller for election for the City Commissioners Zone 3 in the general election on November 3rd, 2026, and declaring Willie F. Williams duly elected as City Commissioner for Zone 5 and providing when this resolution shall take effect.
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion, we have a second. Do you have any questions or comments? All right, congratulations to Mr. Williams, who is present, and to Mr. Miller and Commissioner May for moving on. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
And Mr. Williams, since you're here tonight, I do have your certificate of election. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're going to move on to item number 12, and this is the city commission discussion of the cancellation of the city commission meetings around the holidays.
And for the record, Commissioner Paris submitted some questions to the attorney trying to ascertain if these are allowed, since our charter does denote that we should have 2 meetings each month. And so she was asking Ben, from a legal perspective, would this be problematic for us, even though Letitia looked at a bunch of different cities that do the same thing. So it's really up to you all, because there is a issue with our charter that she brought up to Ben's discussion, and I think Ben may want to comment on it.
Yeah, technically, the charter requires that you meet a minimum of twice monthly. So if you cancel the second December meeting as proposed, you won't be in compliance with the charter. I am not aware of specific consequences of violating the charter, other than the fact that it would not be in compliance with the charter. And the fact speaks for itself. I did look at the other local jurisdictions that I understand cancel some of their end of season meetings, and I don't think any of them have the same language that we have. The one that I know that does have the same language is City of DeLand. I don't know if they cancel their meeting, but their charter requires that they meet twice monthly as well. Volusia County, Port Orange, Ormond, they don't have that same requirement that we have in our charter.
My question was, so would we have to revise our charter, or are we just going, if we decide to remove one of the meetings, do we have to revise the charter?
Unless you revise the charter, skipping the meeting would cause us not to comply with the charter. We can't trump it by an ordinance or a resolution or some other action. The only way to make it right with the charter would be to amend the charter.
I would want to amend the charter. I don't want to do something our charter says.
And it sounds as though we've never broken the charter, so that we don't know what the repercussions are.
Well,
I know in the past, at least since I've been in the clerk's office, that we did cancel a meeting because of a hurricane and didn't reschedule it. So that meeting we only did have, that month we only did have one meeting.
I actually think that the chance for legal action as a result is minuscule. In theory, somebody could file a writ of mandamus to require you to meet a second time, in which case you'd have to schedule a meeting. But I'm not aware of any other consequences. Typically, questions of charter amendments come about where the governing body takes an official action, like adopting an ordinance or approving a contract, in violation of the charter. And the question is that action valid? There's no action associated with this. You would not be meeting. So in my view, the risk is you could be subject to a writ of mandamus, and maybe people would be upset because it doesn't comply with the charter. But other than that, I don't see that.
I'm with Commissioner Paris. I'm not going against the charter.
Good governance would respect the charter.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. When you're a charter form of government, the charter is what you're supposed to govern yourselves by. It's kind of like your constitution, and you look at it and then you just say, "Oh, we don't like that rule, so we're not gonna do it." So I would not vote for it since it's not in the charter. But if you want to do it, I would say, it's not when we have charter review, which isn't coming up anytime soon. Let's review it to have it put in the charter, or put it before the voters that says that we cancel one meeting. We can do it sooner if you really feel that strongly about it. I don't think that December meeting is necessary, and so I am okay with it. But I'm more in favor. I'm 100% in favor of doing it the right way. If you accept doing things the wrong way that are minor, then you will accept doing things the wrong way that are major. So just do things the right way.
Well, and with the charter review, it's a minimum, it's supposed to be a minimum of at least 10 years. There have been occasions too where if there's something else that comes up at that time that we can call a charter review and add that to it.
And if you all feel that strongly, we could do that. I mean, it's not that difficult. It's not, you know, they could come together. You have your charter review committee come together and meet and decide if they want to agree to it. And then if they say it's okay, then all we have to do is vote on it, right? So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So
I would be open to that. I mean, it would still keep us within the charter if we had a call charter review for them to discuss and determine whether or not that would be something feasible.
okay. So you got 1, 2. I'm agreeable to that. You're agreeable to it.
What do you mean call?
Call the charter review committee that we most recently had, or call a charter review committee. We have the same names, right? We use those same individuals for charter review, and have a charter review committee for this particular item.
And Ben, is that allowed?
Let me get back with you with a little bit more.
I'm okay if it's allowed.
No, this is allowable, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if it's
Well, it wasn't an action
It's
item,
not
it
an
was just
action item.
discussion anyway.
We'll just come back to the discussion at a later time. Okay.
All right, at this time, I can bring out Ann Ruby to discuss the city-owned properties. That was 13A.
Good evening. Hi. So, thank you all. This presentation is about the study of the property the city owns. The purpose of this presentation is to help you familiarize yourself with the study so that you can use it as a tool for decision making. It's not necessarily a chance for discussions on what's presented in the study. So the purpose of the study, if I can make it go forward. Okay, the purpose of the study, hello?
I'll get them to.
Okay, thank you. The purpose of the study was to consolidate and establish all the parcels that the city owns, and to understand how those parcels are used, and to identify which parcels we could maybe not need to keep on our tax rolls. So the city owns 385 parcels. This does not include the 123 parcels in the Housing Authority or the 13 subsurface parcels. It does include 7 parcels. Sub. These are parcels that don't really exist. Well, they do exist. There we go. Sorry. But they are like private easements.
Oh, okay.
And they're not really related to this study. It's not something we can
Do anything.
buy and sell. And it includes 7 parcels that the city owns in unincorporated Volusia County. So this is kind of a pretty chart that shows you the distribution of parcels. And obviously they're divided, this study is divided into categories. And the first category was infrastructure, because that has the most parcels, 134. But then the categories are arranged into 3 buckets. So the first are core city assets, where infrastructure is the first one. City features, that would be like the boardwalk and the pier, the marina are in there. Parks and recreation facilities, municipal facilities like the police department, city hall, fire stations. That does include 847 Orange Avenue and parking lots. So these are kind of our core assets of the city that certainly can be sold or developed, but they're not something, they need to be considered as part of their larger function. The next category are future project parcels. So there's 8 future projects identified with 56 parcels involved. And there are 13 parcels involved in 5 different in-process functions. So it's recommended that you would examine the future project parcels section very carefully and maybe have a workshop on that. Are those parts, where do they stand in terms of development? Where do they stand in terms of feasibility? What other parcels from the city could be included? And there's information enclosed with that. Then we get to the 84 parcels that warrant further evaluation. 9 parcels we could divest to an abutter. Turns out one of them we actually did divest to an abutter, I think in 2022, and it just got recorded. We found out it wasn't recorded, so it got recorded. There are 53 parcels that are 5,000 square feet or over, and 35 of those are in the CRA. These are parcels that need careful examination, but they could qualify for development in with some standard formats of development. But they all need careful examination before they would be offered or divested of somehow. The last 22 parcels I'm calling getting to yes. These are lots that would normally be considered too small, non-conforming, under 5,000 square feet, 2,500, so 50 by 50 foot lot to under 5,000 square feet. We own 22 of those lots. 14 of them are in a CRA. Getting to yes would provide us with a real infill opportunity for those lots. Not only those lots, but other lots that other people own and that are small and non-conforming. So the advantage of trying to get to yes would be that it would streamline the path to construction. It would be easier to build. And you could try to do that by doing pre-approved plans so that the city would actually own plans that we would say, if you have a 50 by 50 foot lot, you could build 3 variations of this house. Here's the plans, you can go home, hire your builder, and he'll build a house for you. And it would activate parcels, it would create homes that would be more affordable, not because there's an affordability program or an income restriction, but because they're small on smaller lots. And this is being done, the pre-approved plans are being used in many other cities, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Kalamazoo, Michigan, and South Bend. South Bend activated their program January 1st, 2023, and through April, they have built 68 structures with 91 housing units. So that getting to yes could work. So, okay. So that's the end of our parcel discussion and how you can use this. But what's beautiful about this that's been created is there's now one repository with information about every parcel the city owns. It used to be they were kind of all over in different departments. So if this can be maintained, it would be a very useful tool going forward. I think it needs to be maintained. It's a responsible way to manage a big series of assets. So recommended next steps would be to evaluate future projects, and that would be, I think, best done in a workshop, but that's for you guys to decide. To conduct an annual review of all city-owned property so that you're constantly aware of these assets that we have, and to develop a divestment plan for the properties we no longer need, to evaluate them and see if they're not necessary, then how are we going to get rid of them? And then maintain the database. So this was a huge project. I know it took longer than it probably some people thought it should, but it was a very collaborative effort and so many people helped, and I pestered so many people for information, and I'm very grateful for all their help, but mostly the guys in GIS, because there's 57 maps in here so that you have each section has a little bit about each parcel and then a map. So you can just see, but on paper, looking at where everything is in relation to other things. And they made 57 maps. Those maps are the result of probably 150 maps because things had to be, let's orient it this way. They had to be tweaked. So GIS guys did an amazing job. So thank you. That's the end of the city-owned portion. Because I got curious, Now, there's a non-city owned, 2 slides for non-city owned parcels. Looking at lots identified by the property appraiser, not owned by the city of Daytona Beach, in the neighborhood where we own the 22 parcels. So properties that are between 2,500 and less than 5,000 square feet. There are 131 parcels that are vacant residential and 166 that are single family. And that's what you see on this map. So you can see the red ones are the vacant residential and the blue ones are the single family. You can see that there are lots of little clusters of these smaller homes. So we shouldn't be afraid to develop those. It may not work in every instance, but it could work in some. And if it works for us, maybe we could make it work for some of these other vacant parcels. Then I got even more curious and I said, in that same neighborhood, how many vacant parcels are there altogether, according to the property appraisers? The answer is 704. So every one of those dots on there, every one of those parcels is vacant residential, 704. So we have, if we could develop a good divestment program, we could maybe activate not only our parcels, but help activate some of these. That's the end. Thank you.
Actually, that's the most interesting part to me, is what you went in and dug out. That right there is very intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
How do we determine and group these parcels by like ownership? Are they bank owned? Are they?
There's 532 owners. The most somebody owns 12 parcels. So it's very scattered ownership. And I haven't checked to see if any of them are banks.
You did?
I didn't check.
You didn't?
I didn't check, no. But,
Ms. Ruby,
Yes.
I completely appreciated the level of expertise and detail in your project. It was really nice to listen to it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I guess my thought process is, do you think that there's an interest? I'd like to find out the reason why there are so many. If there's an issue with selling them potentially or marketing them, what the issue is, if they even want to sell them.
I can't speak to that. I suspect on some of the smaller parcels that sometimes the issue is they hear the word variance and they say, ugh, not doing that. So I think I think the pre-approved building plans is kind of an exciting program and other cities are having success with it. So pre-approved building plans, you develop building plans that you can just hand to someone. If I came in and I said, I have a 40 by 60 foot lot and I want to build a house, you would say, okay, here you go. Here's the building plans. If you build this house, you can, and in our case, you'd have to say, and you have to elevate at a certain height, you can just go build this house. Take this to your builder. He can build your house. You can modify the plans in the interior, but the outside still has to look like this. So in the city of South Bend, they developed, I think, 10 plans with 3 iterations of each plan, from anywhere from a little tiny house that fits on a 20-foot wide lot up to, I think, a 4-plex. And that's linked in the PDF.
And that's what I was going to say. There's a PDF that we should make sure gets out that actually identifies the addresses and all for that. So, and if you could share what's all in the PDF that they will be able to pull up from, to as much as possible, where you've got the map, the location, and the address, because that's some of the questions they want to be able to see each address.
The ones that we own.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all in the study. It's all in the study.
I don't think
I can't pull them up. I didn't do that in this part.
Yeah, but
part of
it's
this.
on the link. That's
You just and it's mostly by zone.
Yeah, she identifies each zone. If it's a CRA lot, Vegas lot, it pretty much identifies and breaks down for each one of your zones to know what's in your zone on the PDF that you have to click on.
Right.
We have 385 as a city,
Correct.
and then individual owners own double that, 7 something.
Individual, there's 704
Yeah.
vacant residential
Yeah.
lots. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
I love your suggestions. The report is great. I think if we were to take your suggestions, it would be proactive on our part. I think a lot of times citizens don't know what to do. They don't know what size lots they have or what can they do with the lots they have. And if we had those plans in place, I think it would help them to move forward, and we could build on that and make that some type of a project.
So with regard to the variance, not that you would know, but you may know, in general to this, I guess, to the city employees, if we move ahead and we move through all the paperwork ourselves, streamline the process for that particular piece of property, the variances, the approvals, everything has already gone through, that would help. The resident would not have to do that, and that would make it more affordable for them also.
Yes, yes. But I think that it's setting up a program like this. South Bend started in 2020. They didn't have their program up and running until 2023. It cost them about $240,000 to get the plans developed, but now they're kind of chunking along. And so I think it's sort of the beginnings of an idea, and I think we would need to have a lot of staff put together to kind of bring it to fruition. And I think it would be a great opportunity for a new economic and strategic opportunities director.
Well, all of the different items, different communities she's talked about are a part of the PDF. So not only can you all see the PDF online, it's available to all citizens as well to see the same information. So thank you.
Yes, you're quite welcome.
Thank you.
And there was one more thing I was going to say, but I don't remember. Anyhow, thank you. Good night.
Can we, now that we have this, can we discuss potential next steps? So we have some great information. We have a great PDF. We know what the properties are, and we know who owns the properties. Do we have a next steps concept? I have one, but do we have an idea of what we are to do next with this information?
I would like to have a workshop so I have time to sit and look at it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would too. Good
'Cause-
information, but you
yeah.
want to really dive into it.
Because I could see us having plans for specific size lots, and I'm showing them what they could do. And I'd like to see what this other city did too. What does their plan look like as a part of our workshop?
So part of what I'd like us to consider is once we have a workshop, just maybe at the end of the workshop, we have another discussion about this, but it would be interesting to get the owners together who own the extra lots. They may not know what to do next, right? Their lots combined with city lots, we have one big showcase of everything, given that some people want to participate in this process. And then we bring together the owner of the home, the owner of the lot, with potential developers as one big marketplace. And we see what we can get done. We would have to facilitate that process ourselves. But doing part of the city part and the private person, potentially the private person, again, does not know what to do. And we may have to help a bit with that. But it's a great way to, I see many parcels in Zone 3 that I would like to see developed.
And called it Getting to Yes. Operation Getting to Yes.
And so when do we think we could have that meeting? We had a goal of September, potentially, to have the expo. That was our goal initially. So we've collated the data over time. Thank you, Commissioner Cantu, for bringing it to our attention. So what are the next steps, workshop-wise, potentially? And then we were thinking of, when I spoke with redevelopment, having the expo in September. Late September, actually.
So you're asking for a date for the workshop?
Please, to start with.
What is it that we're asking staff to have for us by then? Will they have ample time?
I think it's you all to review the information and.
So review the information, review the previous
And to
plans.
consider that we have an expo, to really give that thought of how we would connect with the residents, send a letter to them, contact them, go see them, do whatever we have to do, and let them know the opportunity exists for us to move forward.
Okay.
I'm free.
We meet on first and third. We meet second and fourth, I think.
We meet when?
We meet second and fourth week because of, there's a certain date that, yeah.
So can't we have that before the meeting, commission meeting?
The workshop? Well, I don't know. We might have some, discussion.
We could have it either before a commission meeting, or we could have it on like the third Wednesday that we would normally meet. which is, I think, September
Let's do that.
16th.
So we're not backed up against trying to get ready to get up here for the people, where we could discuss it and, you know, that's what I think.
Okay, fine.
Third Wednesday in September?
Yeah.
Are you all in a rush on this? Okay, go ahead. Schedule it for third Wednesday. I'm not sure.
I'll send out
I'm not sure
an
I'll be
email
here, but-
tomorrow.
But I'll watch it on review.
Okay.
I think I have something.
I was wondering, since we do have a list of all these parcels, would utilities be able to tell us where they might think we could add extra stormwater storage also with this? Would this be something that they could come back with us
They
to?
were part of the discussion. I think they looked at those items as well, but it'll be a part of your workshop discussion. But they also evaluated properties to say, do we need them for utilities or anything like that? Is David or Shannon running out there? I heard
I don't know, I heard a click.
yeah. But yeah, it'll be part of the discussion. Yeah.
My main thing for stormwater storage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. 16th, you'll probably be in charge.
Be a part of the workshop. Don't need to talk about it tonight. Perfect.
Okay, so now we have commissioner comments.
Commissioner comments.
We start with Strickland tonight.
Strickland just wants to say that Friday nights at the band shell is something that if you're not taking advantage of, you really should be. It's quite entertaining. A lot of people have been coming out to most of them. Some of them are not as well attended as others, but the entertainment's been really good lately. The other thing I was going to say is the police department's special unit over at the boardwalk, I think, has been real helpful. I try to go over there 3 or 4 times a week and take a look. We don't have the same riffraff that we once had there. It's improving. I also think, just my personal opinion, that the more people we can get there, the better off we are. I know we have people that say, oh, I'm not going to that park. I saw homeless people in there. Go ahead and go. The homeless people do not want to be around you. So go ahead, take the family and the friends, and the more the better, because they'll move on. I'm with you, Mayor. It's not a crime to be unhoused, homeless, poor. I know when I volunteered at the Jared Dolliner Food Bank for about 3 years, most of the people that came there were working poor. You had very few unhoused people that showed up there every week. But anyway, we're working on these things, and I think we're going in a good direction. And I'll leave it at that for tonight.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner?
I wanted to thank the voters for participating in the electoral process, and their support was appreciated. Thank you so much.
I'm just curious, we all received this email. Is this something we're discussing tonight?
Commissioner from Havnet?
Yeah.
Oh, the one from
He said he needs. No, Bella-Chu needs some software.
Oh, yeah, we voted consent agenda.
Oh, did we? Oh, you just put it on the consent. Okay. I'm like, you added it. Sorry. I have nothing. Thank you.
Commissioner Henry?
No comments. Congratulations to Mr. Williams. Thank you.
First of all, I just wanted to say I was honored to once again represent you all at the Florida League of Cities in Hollywood, Florida this week. Just wanted you to know a few of the workshops that I attended. Beyond the Cone, a practical disaster playbook for Florida cities, and our manager actually facilitated that. Understanding residents' perspective on growth, property tax amendment general session, and council-manager partnership, one team, different roles. I was your voting delegate for the new administration for the Florida League of Cities. And this annual conference allows you to meet with local leaders and to discuss how they handle some of the same obstacles that your city may have handled. And it also allows you to experience and to create relations across the state. So I really enjoy going to that. I just wanted to congratulate Mr. Williams and wish the best of luck to May and to Miller. I want to just mention one group here, Witness. A lot of us have made a contribution to Witness, Women in Transition Now Establishing Support for Themselves. It's a Christian-based organization that supports women who need to get off the street, who are striving to better themselves. It is a Christian-based organization. It has rules. They have to be employed. They have to save money. They have to either be employed or going to school. And I wanted to bring to your attention that house that we have on Beachside. They have been moving from house to house because the owners are selling the homes from underneath them. They've had a couple of formal dinners trying to raise funds to build a home, and it's just taking a while. And I know several organizations in the city that support them. And I wanted to know if this would be something that we would consider perhaps donating that house on the Beachside where the firemen had been living. That you know what house I'm talking about, Mr. Manager? You guys know what I'm talking about? I want you to give that some thought. Here's a group of citizens who's taken it upon themselves to make a difference in the lives of others. It would be for them like an affordable house initiative that they would be in this home together. They have to go to school or they have to go to work. They have to save funds, and then they move out of there and support themselves. I just don't like the idea of women being on the street who want to make a difference in their life. You know, some folks you can't help. I've learned that. But those who need help or want help, I'd be willing to help. So maybe we can look into what that would entail. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention that, you know, they end up moving repetitively because the homes are sold from underneath them. And they've been around for a while now with Reverend Inez Stafford and her board. And I'd just like for us to consider perhaps donating that house to that organization. It is a 501c3, and there are citizens within our city trying to make a difference, taking the initiative, which is something that we hope. It's not always that the government is going to solve the issue. You know, we want citizens to be proactive about trying to make a difference for themselves and for others, and that's what this group does. So I'd like for us to look at that a little bit more in depth, Mr. Manager. If you could tell us what that would entail for this body to consider, I would appreciate it. All right? And I just want to tell y'all that my little Weston went to doggy heaven as well. I know. Yeah. So I had to put him on the record. That concludes my comments. I know.
I love the election process. I don't know what it is about it, voting, everyone getting together, pushing for their candidates. So I want to, Mr. Williams, I thought he was still here, but congratulate him. The other candidates, I hope you keep coming to meetings. I hope you keep staying involved. It was nice to see younger people involved in this election. So for the election coming up, I know that everyone that's running cares about Daytona Beach a lot. So I think everybody's going to be in good hands, whichever way you choose to go. I just want to bring up, I know that we have, I don't know if it's a tickler system. Is there some sort of system that after meetings, there's like some sort of spreadsheet? Okay. Is there a way for the commission to be part of some sort of dashboard? Actually, it was at a candidate forum that someone brought it up about having a dashboard. What's requested, which department would be responsible, and the date we should receive it. Just so we could all stay on track with what we're asking. I don't know if it's something that we want to have maybe from each meeting, have the city manager or somebody read back to us what items we requested, and then as the process goes along, we could see if it's in process, when it's coming up, because there's a couple of things that I know that we keep bringing up. Times may change, I totally understand that, so it may shift, but at least we all have an idea of when we're going to be seeing when it's going to come back to us, so we can keep it organized. So it'd be something for all of us.
I appreciate you bringing that up. So when Ms. Betty Goodman was here, I'd have a list of everything I was working on, requests I had made, and then staff would go through the different departments, and they would just, at the time, they would email it. And she would update my list. It was a working document. Having a dashboard is great. We can just check it. It's great.
Okay.
So my thing is the question was, I know exactly what Commissioner Paris was talking about. They wanted us, if you all want us to go over every single item, that's your prerogative, but we do have a dashboard spreadsheet that we fill out after each meeting. Letitia sends it out. We actually date who's responsible for it, when it is provided to you in email, and also when it is complete. And if you all want every meeting for that to come back to you all, or just go the same process and you communicate, that's up to you all.
Is that just for the meetings that we had?
Any
Yes.
request that you all make?
For me, it would
Well,
be
the
meetings.
one that I send out after, there's one I send out after the meeting for city commission directives, and that is specific to the meetings. And then we also have another one where if you guys are making individual requests to departments, we're also,
document
that might not be at a meeting, but might be.
And then we try to update it in the biweekly report on some of those items.
And then that will keep us accountable too if we change our minds in the middle of everything. I want to thank also Miss Ruby. That was so comprehensive. I learned so much, and I think we're going to have a very good workshop on this, and also for bringing ideas of how we can provide planned housing already to make it easier for people to build on their own property as well, to give them ownership. And I think that was it. Thank you.
First like to again congratulate the new commissioner-elect for Zone 5, Mr. Willie Williams, who will replace Commissioner Henry, who replaced Commissioner Henry, who replaced Commissioner Henry. So for the first time in 17 years, there won't be a Henry in Zone 5. But we are very excited about Mr. Williams and his impending service. We were very impressed with all of the candidates who campaigned in that race. It was a great campaign, and I was, Zone 5 still has my heart. I was born in Zone 5, so it keeps my heart for as long as I'm on earth. But we were very happy with the way that the campaigns were run. And I have been super happy with the way that all of the campaigns, from what I've seen, have been run this year. I have never seen it so peaceful and so well done. I haven't seen people come to the commission meeting and make a mockery of themselves, or make a mockery of the process. When people go there, I've seen some things. I have seen some things that, from this side and from that side, and it is not always pretty, but it has been a beautiful sight to see in Daytona Beach, the way that our elections have gone. Just super proud and pleased with everyone. I have been talking at the last few meetings about the audit from the state and its impending closure. It is August, and I celebrate that August has arrived because we expect that the audit will be turned over to us sometime this month or at the beginning of September. I was of the impression originally that the state auditors would come back to Daytona Beach and present before the commission and the community their findings, much like we heard tonight. And we certainly heard tonight from our external auditor, who we pay, that the sky is not falling. Of course, we made some mistakes and things that are correctable. So we've heard from them. But I was of the impression that the state auditor would come and do that same type of presentation. I was mistaken, and I have learned that they will not do that. What they will do is they will write their audit report, and they will essentially mail it to us slow mail, electronic mail, but we will get the report from them, and then it will go to the press or go wherever it goes from there. That don't sit well with me. That doesn't sit well with me. So I have spoken to the manager, and because I don't want anybody to, I'm tired of hearing, all of the noise. I'm tired of it. And I don't want anybody to be able to intelligently say that I don't know what the audit said. If you are not hiding under a rock, I intend to do everything that I can to make sure that we expose what the findings are, so that this community will know what they said. And so we will use this median as one mechanism. You've seen many times over where we have done recordings and we replay them. So I'm not sure who it will be. It may be me or someone from staff, but probably me. So we'll maybe have an interview and we'll talk about what the audit entailed, what they found, and be as detailed as we can. And so that'll be one form. I will go on every radio show that will have me to go over what they found. I am making myself available starting now to any neighborhood group in Daytona Beach. Say that again, any neighborhood group in Daytona Beach that would like to have me to come. I don't care if it's your block, your street, every nook, every corner, every crevice of this community. I will come with a PowerPoint presentation as well as, written documentation of what the auditor found so that you can take it home. You can share it with your neighbors. I'm not proclaiming to be the expert, but I'm going to show you the facts of what they showed us. And I'll give you the information so you can look at it so you don't have to think that I'm making up what they gave us. 'Cause I'm not going to make it up. Whatever they give us, I'll have a handout. You can take that. Then I will go over it in a PowerPoint presentation in the way that I understand it. So every neighborhood group, any organization, any church, and I will be sending letters. I've already started to craft the letter that I will send to all of these organizations, making myself available to you for this presentation. Staff will be joining me for these presentations as a way of helping, not to try and convince anybody of anything, because this won't be about convincing you about who we are, where we are, but it's to educate you about what they said. So nobody can go back and say we hid anything, because just like the media has been here hounding us and crawling down our back, we would like to see them be sure that they get all of the information out that we're given as it relates to this. So to anyone who's listening or anyone who has, please begin to put me on your calendar as soon as possible. I intend to spend the next 6 months, if it takes, to get this word out so that people will know. No one will be able to say, we didn't know. And then anything else that's hovering above our city. Because once we get past this, we're going to be moving on. And those that want to continue to talk about it, especially the people who live in Ormond and Holly Hill and South Daytona and Port Orange, who like the Old Pine in Massachusetts and all over, we're going to move on from that, from what the auditor has found. And all of the other things that are haloing above, they will halo in the way that they will, but they too will come to a resting place. And when their resting place is there, this city will continue to advance and move forward. So I look forward to helping us to do that. So please begin to communicate with me. And if you don't communicate with me, don't worry. I'm going to be calling you. Every neighborhood group, I'm going to call you and invite myself to your neighborhood meeting to come and present, because we don't want your residents, because of the things that I hear are just beyond insane. The things that people believe based on a lot of this. People believe that, perhaps me in particular, that I've somehow taken and written checks, that I've somehow, written checks to myself or written checks and went on extravagant vacations. We will see if they have that to say, among other things. So we want all of that, and it's not just me, it's all of us. But I'm available, and I'm not going to shut up about it for the next 6 months at least, until we know and understand. That's my comment, Mr.
Mayor?
Manager.
You
Yes.
should be able to see that when it's done. You should be. JLAC will have a hearing and you should be able to watch it.
But we'll have, before they have their hearing, before JLAC's hearing,
No, it'll go to JLAC before us.
they won't have their hearing before us.
They might have emergency meeting. But
Well,
Mr. Beard should find out.
if that's what they do, once again, they've done something that they didn't tell us they were gonna do. And, JLAC, for all of their excitement, they've done what they wanted to do. And they wanna get the information, I'm sure, so they can shape the narrative, which is what shouldn't be happening, from the way I understand it. But I'm sure they've circumvented once again to find a way to get the information, and then that wasn't the way that it was explained to us. So, but they're in charge, but either way, we're going to put the facts out. So we will get the information, and we're not just going to rely on them to tell the story. We're going to tell the story that the auditor tells. Mr. Manager?
There are no comments from me tonight.
Sir?
No, sir.
All right. We'll now hear from the residents of Daytona Beach.
Okay, is Mr. Biddorf still here out in the lobby? Okay, our first speaker is Caleb Mack, and on deck is John Nicholson. Caleb?
Yes. You mean the microphone.
Okay.
Okay, she's gonna bring you the mic.
We're gonna bring you a mic. Hold
She'll
on
bring
just
you a
one
mic.
second.
No, you have to have the mic for recording.
You have to be recorded. People in the community want to hear you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor and the lady in Zone 3, I sent y'all a letter and it was post-dated June, can't see me, I think June 25th, and the city stamped it and stuff, and I want to know, Mayor, did you receive that letter that I sent you from the ANVET? And
I received your letter and I have spoken with you. Yes, I've received your letter and we've had conversation.
Okay.
Yes.
But I want to make sure that you give me the right procedure, because you ain't told me verbal out your mouth. I need to be in writing, because it's a conflict. Because Mr. Pierre, and I talked with him, and what you told me a different story. And I want to make sure that we take care of that. And it's not fair what you were saying. You told me one thing, and your staff told me another. And they say we were a 501c organization, and you told me that you would look in it and try to assist me and help me.
Right.
Then
So-
now you're
Well,
telling me a
one
different
second.
story.
No, not quite, sir. So let me just clear something up. So when you sent me the letter, I thought it was a fabulous letter. You were discussing wanting if I understand you, a solar-powered, I believe, telescopic flagpole
Yes, ma'am.
for your station, your AMVET station, correct? And this would be in Zone 3. Am I correct so far? Yes?
It's on
Yes.
526
And so
Orange Avenue.
exactly. So I appreciate your service, and I appreciate the fact that you're meeting at Dickerson Center right now with your group, and your goal is to have a flagpole. So while I support your goal, I would need some sort of documentation in terms of the cost of the flagpole, what's involved in the solar powered, and that would be standard for anybody asking for anything. They would have to say, hey, this is what we need it for, the approximate cost is this. It cannot just be, I'd like a flagpole with an estimate of an amount. That's the first thing. And the only request I had was that, could you get me that documentation? Mr. Pierre, I think, met with you a second ago, and all that I'm requesting is to have some sort of sense of what would that cost. Do you have an idea of what that would cost?
When I talked with you the last time I was here, and you had came outside,
Yes.
and you explained, you said, well, like I said, do I need 3 proposals? Then you said you assist me and you asked the city, because I said y'all have multiple flagpoles the city have.
Yes.
And you said you'll do the research and see what the cost was. So I was
did it.
leaving
One
that
sec.
to you and stuff.
Okay.
But I should have had that in writing.
Well-
But now you're saying that you talked with Mr. Pierre and seeing that he will help out and stuff, and
Somebody has to help you with that. So you're
So
requesting.
I'm saying, all I want to know, what is the procedure in how to do that? Do y'all have a guideline how to the
Okay.
proper way of, so I can move forward on that instead of it being writing, not being verbal, and not
Oh, no,
getting.
I agree. I agree.
consistency.
So is there somebody who could help me with this? Is there anybody who could help me assist Mr. Caleb? And it would look like this. Could a staff member possibly, I'm guessing, do the research on what a flagpole would cost along with solar, and then submit this to us so that I can submit it to the City Commission for approval of funds? I have no idea how much I would be approving. I could not tell you how much that is. But I've never been presented with, I have to do the research for somebody. My help to you, sir, is, okay, right behind you, sir, is a young woman. There's a young woman. Turn to your right. Turn to your right, sir. There's a young woman, all right?
But one of your staff came out and talked to me.
Okay.
She asked to see if we were a 501c.
Yes.
She asked me these questions. She
Yes.
said it was a proper procedure doing
Yes.
it. But based on what you were telling me,
Yes.
that you were going to go out your way to assist me in it.
Yes. And so
then
my
I guess-
assistance, sir, was having a staff member speak with you and try to help you with it. But let's try this approach, because I don't believe I would be able to do the research for you, go and find the cost for you, and then approve the funds for you. That would not be the way that we would handle and manage money.
I understand what you were saying, but that's what you said out
I
your mouth
understand.
and stuff. So
I'm willing to
what
say-
I'm trying to
I'm willing to
clear
say
up the
that there
matter
was a
is, I'm trying to
misunderstanding.
clear the matter up that if the right procedure and doing it the correct way, based on what you had taught to me when you went outside, you led me on to thinking that, because I told you I had some disabilities and stuff, and I told you I'm visually impaired and stuff and all that, and I was trying to make sure that you understood that you could assist me, and you were saying you'll go out to see if anybody in the city know, because y'all have multiple flagpoles and stuff, you were going to do that. So I was under assumption of that. And so now, when I came to talk to you today, it was a different story. And so,
No,
Mr. Pierre,
it's not a different story. So, but let's clear it up. Let's not go back and forth. My goal is to assist you. 1 second, please. 1 second. My goal is to assist you, because the goal here is to try to get you to where you want to be with it.
and
One
then you had
second.
said you need to know the history of the posts and stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Mayor, I need to talk about you. I sent a letter to you. Did you
I'm
receive the
sorry,
letter from
your
me?
time has expired. Yeah. Okay. Okay, she's going to come get the microphone from you. Thank you so much.
So do I come back and get this from the mayor?
Not tonight, but
I will not be participating in the flagpole. Okay. You did? Yes, I did. Okay. Thank you.
our next speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is John Navarra. Is Mr. Navarra still here?
No, John's gone.
Okay. And so on deck, is it Kiara Fuquay? Okay.
It's at 413 North Granbury Avenue. With regard to your comments earlier, when we did the thing with Fiature, the P cards, the fire station, it was all about nothing. It really was over hyped. We had cameras for what, 3 weeks, 2 months or whatever. They were trying to find out there was something wrong with the city. There was problems, there was funds, and nothing came to fruition. There was nothing there. I don't think the audit from the state is going to find a whole heck of a lot. The fact that we have not kept up on our records has been known for 40 years. When we did the impact fees, 17 years, we didn't update it. When we did the Charles Cherry, we redid the funding for public property. We hadn't updated it for the Bethune-Cookman. 30 years they had the same price for the municipal stadium. We're known for doing that. We just got to get out of the habit of delaying and just every 5 years look over everything. So that is a minor offense compared to stealing and misappropriation of funds and whatever everybody thought. We didn't do. We're just lax in updating our procedures. So that's my view on your comments. With regard to Ann Ruby's, I thought it was very informative. I wasn't surprised by it. Last year, when I looked at the properties in Midtown, for 2 months, I drove every single street from Mason Avenue to Bevel. I saw all those vacant properties. Again, Mayor, I think we should do an infill on affordable housing. It should not be outside, out west.
I agree with
It
that.
kills our Midtown. Jack White's been pushing for years for infill. We should listen to him.
I agree.
Every single one of those lots should have a house on it. And the people that need those housing can afford in that neighborhood. They can't afford Margaritaville. $500,000, $750,000 homes is not affordable. But if they put those small homes in there, those people will buy them. Seniors will buy a small house with a 1 bedroom on it. We don't need to put them in a high rise. So I think Ann Ruby's idea that those other cities are doing with the small lots, with the everything prepared, all right? And if we can drop the fees, as long as we get a house, it helps Midtown. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is it Kiara Fuquay? And on deck is Gabe Waznock. What is it? Wozniak. Okay, thank you.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Great.
My name is Kiara Fuquay. This is my friend Crystal Frazier. We are yet again hosting a dance workshop in this area. We are hosting it at Allen Chapel AME. It is going to be a 3-day workshop this year. Last year we did 2 days, but we have extended it. We are going to cut the registration fee. The registration fee last year was $40. We went down to $20. And we did that because we were able to see 40 dancers last year, but we do want to double that and make an impact in the community that way. We are still providing food, we're providing teaching and choreography and all of those good things, but we wanted to make sure that we give more of an opportunity. Last year, we were very excited that the city of Daytona Beach helped us out tremendously with people being sponsored. As soon as we did this, as soon as we came on here, people were inboxing me left and right. Are the sponsorships still available? Is it still available? And so we're excited to double the number that we were able to see last year. Between myself, Crystal Frazier, Tia Culver, if you know her, Melissa Evans, if you know her, we have at least about 30 years of experience with dance, with choreography, all types of dance, ballet, classical, modern, jazz, tap, African, contemporary, all of those types of dance. So we're just wanting to do this again. We want to make sure that we give the opportunity in this community to dance and dance with many styles of dance. It is under a Christian-based organization, Fire to the Nations Global Ministries. We are a 501c3, and we just want to continue doing what we do. Do we have any questions? Anything?
All right. Didn't Paisley come to this last time?
Yes.
She'll be there again.
Okay.
She had a great time.
So we wanted to know, just basically if anybody can help us out with any funding. Everybody is invited and all dancers are invited, but we just wanted to put that out there. Okay? All right.
You want to leave us some information?
Yes, I will. I will email.
When are you doing it? When is it? You got a planned date?
September 11th through the 13th.
Oh, y'all coming up tomorrow. Next.
Cool. No, this August. This August. It's next month.
Yeah, but September.
I know.
We only have our next meeting is September 9th.
Mm-hmm. What does that have to do with anything?
Okay.
Okay. September 9th. Okay. Is our next meeting.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, our next speaker is Gabe Wozniak, and on deck is George St. Pierre.
It's almost over. My name is Gabe Wozniak. I live at 545 Pelican Bay Drive, and I'm representing the Libertarian Party of Volusia County. Mayor Henry, City Commissioners, as a Daytona Beach native, I'm here tonight to strongly urge that we place a city-wide ban on flock cameras as well as any other automated license plate readers on the next agenda. The local expansion of these cameras is a direct threat to our civil liberties and our public safety. Some of you will claim there's no expectation of privacy on a public road, and you would be correct. However, while that may apply to a single photograph or video recording, the citywide network of AI cameras does something entirely different. As the Supreme Court recognized in Carpenter versus United States, continuous tracking creates a mosaic of our lives. Flock cameras log when we leave for work, where we go to worship, which doctors we visit. It transforms every innocent resident into a tracked specimen, flipping the Fourth Amendment on its head by conducting mass suspicionless surveillance without a warrant or probable cause. We are not brandable livestock, and this is supposed to be a government owned by the people. But this isn't just an abstract constitutional debate. It is an immediate physical danger. The system's so-called audit trails are a facade that completely fails to prevent abuse before it occurs. Right here in Florida, a Haines City police officer was recently caught using flock camera systems over 700 times to stalk his estranged wife. A Monroe County deputy used it to track down a woman just because she caught his eye. Every officer swore an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution above all else. They should be the ones tearing these things down, not using them for these creepy practices. And don't get me wrong, I love my boys in blue. I love my girls in gray. But a matter of fact is that we shouldn't have this power to anyone. If it's available to just officers, it should be available to the entire public. By handing over a searchable database of our daily movements, we are tracking a device to any predatory individual who happens to have a badge. Finally, there's the matter of fiscal responsibility. Tax-paying dollars actively funding a for-profit corporation whose entire business model relies on expanding a massive farm of personal data. So, we are paying to outsource our surveillance to a private entity while taking on the immense liability that comes with AI misreads and inevitable civil rights misuses. The government is essentially purchasing firearms with our debit cards and pointing them at all of our heads. We cannot sacrifice the Fourth Amendment and the safety of our residents for the illusion of security. For those who sacrifice their security for safety, or their liberty for security, will lose both and deserve neither. I implore you to take immediate action.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is George St. Pierre, and on deck is Amaya Albury.
George St. Pierre, owner of Jungle George's at 1022 Main Street, right in the focus of all your debates this week. First of all, you need to move these meetings to public comment to the beginning of these meetings. During the season, I have no time to come down here and just tell you that, hey, we need this, or hey, can you do that? I can't leave my shop, and I don't have the time to sit here for 4 hours. It's it's just, hey, we need help with something. Can you do it? Can you not? If you could move them, that would be a great benefit to the city as well as me. My big concern is the scooters, and I did miss your first part of the meeting before you would know, before this all happened. You need to go down. You need to talk to these tourists that come in. You want the tourists to come here? You got a family of 4 that are walking down the boardwalk. They are flown by, okay, with 12-year-old, 8-year-old kids flying at 20 miles an hour, in and out of them, busting up their families, guy and girl holding hands on their anniversary. Boom, they're gonna get hit. I get hit at least once a week walking out of my store. My store has 2 walls like this, and when you walk out past that wall, it's a 20-mile-an-hour, 200-pound man flying by. Basically, come down and talk to some of these tourists. We had this whole discussion 4 years ago, and she commented, she's driving down the road and she's got crazy kids cutting in and out in traffic in front of them. You know what? These, people are getting hit by them. The school systems don't want them. And you want people to come to the city. You got filth in these shops on the things. The TV network won't let you put it on. I came here wearing a shirt that was filthy, disgusting, with verbal, filth all over it. You can't air it on TV. How is it freedom of speech? Every kid that walks by has to look at it. And, is it a lawsuit? Really, is it a lawsuit? You have the right to have it, but put it inside. You have my next door neighbors who you can't feed the pigeons. He's still putting a 25-pound bag of chicken feed in the back of his store. He's seen it, okay? I've had the police come over. They can't do anything about it. It's a code violation. You bring code and you tell them about it. They can't do anything unless they're personally there when they do it. There's a camera right there that sees who does it. Right there in the breakers, right there behind my building, there's a camera pointed where they're feeding this. Use it.
Thank you.
No, it's not a flat. It is just a parking lot camera.
Our next speaker is Amaya Albury, and on deck is Doyle Lewis.
Hello and good evening to everyone. So first, I really did love Ann Ruby's property report, and having a clear inventory of the city-owned properties is extremely helpful. So I'm also a real estate agent. So when Commissioner Reed, you mentioned that someone needed some assistance with maybe a house, I do actually have several properties right now that would love to maybe partner with that opportunity. One of them is like a 3-year-old property, so it would be a really nice property if you would like to talk about that, okay? I also would love to collaborate in future discussions about some of these city-owned properties, how they can be used to create more housing opportunities. I had talked to Commissioner Henry, I think last year, and I had sent Orange County, has a really good, I think it's called Ready, Set, Orange, and it's an approach that they use for all their pre-planned, for ADUs and also for like affordable housing plans that are already pre-approved through the city. And so it is a fast track system. It would be good for us to look at and, possibly model after as well. So, and talking about city-owned properties, I would like to discuss 777 Main Street, or the Corbin Building, because that did really stand out to me. So from what I found, the city purchased it in 2022 for about $3.1 million to help Main Street become less dependent on seasonal activity like Bike Week and Biketoberfest and create more year-round activities. So I am curious why, after purchasing it for that purpose, period, did the city continue leasing it to a motorcycle-related seasonal retail tenant? And it's been, I think, that way since then. What's the current lease? What's the current rent? The expiration date? I think we need to activate that area, period. I also would like to understand the parking rent rolls as well, because I know at one point that it was going back into the CRA Main Street budget, and it now, I don't know because I am not that person, but it appears that it looks like it may be going somewhere else. So it's probably an error on my part, but I just want to make sure on that, because I think that we talk about having these city plans and surveys all the time, and we keep paying for these plans over and over again. I am born and raised here, and I would love to see our community thrive, all of us, and it not be a fight between the CRAs. And that's, in my opinion, is what happens. Then you have this, CRA fighting this CRA because this one's getting more money and all of this. And actually, in the age of AI, really, if everybody just uploads all the budgets into an AI and make, just to have it check everything and actually look to see if it's all equal and fair, then we could do that. And the city, we're supposed to be government run for the people, by the people. And it is our fault as the people because we have not helped you in that part. So now you have people who actually do want to help and be a part of it. And I am one of those people. So thank you so much for your time.
Our final speaker tonight is Doyle Lewis.
Good evening. I got about 6 to 8 points. My name is Doyle Lewis, Daytona Beach, United States. I'm going to do it really fast so I can get to all 6 for sure, or 8. City-owned lots. That needs to move along and sell a couple of those that you haven't needed, the smaller ones or something. Get rid of some of it. That's number 1. 2, the people feel about the area on beachside with the homeless, the bandshell and the boardwalk, and scooters. Now the scooters are definitely a danger. Some of those are homeless scooters, some of them are not homeless scooters. You have to find out who's riding them. I've been watching that too. They go on the beach, on the sand, and back and forth along the boardwalk, usually at night, usually right after the events. That's done. Redevelopment works. I love that because that means you're moving forward. You're either remodeling or you're getting rid of the old and you're putting new paint on something. So when you redevelop anything, at least you're doing something, and doing something is better than nothing, because nothing means you're not moving, which means you're collecting dust. Number 4, AI definitely can be very dangerous. It can be used for lots of different reasons. It can actually be used for good things too. But in today's world, for sure, we have people who use things dangerously. And it's not as many people as you think. There's more good people that use the AI. But that little bit of danger can get you. Number 5, some of the homeless cause problems. I've seen them move around everywhere, from DeLand to Bunnell to Flagler Beach to St. Augustine to Port Orange to New Smyrna Beach, DeLand, Orange City, DeBerry, and there's one town right there, I'm forgetting the name, but it's probably Daytona. They move around a lot just to stay ahead of the police. The police do a good job, but that's what they do. They move around. As soon as it gets hot in one area, it gets moved to the other town. It happens all the time here. I've been here a long time. I've been watching. Oh, didn't get to it. One last thing, please. Some of the lots that people own, they bought them because they wanted buffers around their house. So they might not want to build. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And we do have one final speaker, Philip, and I can't read your last name here. He can say it at the...
Hello, everybody. Thank you for giving me a minute to speak. My name's Philip Simonetta. I just purchased 415 Main Street and 14 North Hollywood Avenue. It's on the same deed. A little background. I own a real estate brokerage. I'm in 5 states. I have a real estate school. I also have a property management company. I build, I develop, everything you're talking about. It's like, there's so much opportunity for everybody here. The reason I'm here tonight is not that. Since I just purchased the building, it's Neptune's Bar and Grill. I've redone the whole place, got everything ready to go. We're hoping to open up next 2 weeks. I was unaware of a master plan. I just found out about this when I went to the Main Street meeting when I met Ken. And I was made aware that there was a master plan put in place so you can operate outside with vendors and things at that time during these events. So the reason I'm here is I also have a food truck that's on my property. We do brick oven pizza and cannolis, so it's pretty cool. I built a 42-inch brick oven inside of a bus, and because I couldn't find good pizza, and I had to make some for myself. That was the reason I did it, and it turned out to be like people love it. It's based in Jacksonville. I'm based in Jacksonville. I'm in the process of moving the brokerage, the school, everything here to headquarter it in Daytona because I love Daytona Beach. I always have, and I had an opportunity to purchase this property and do what I do. I build things. I develop things. I have a bar and restaurant in Pennsylvania. I'm involved in a couple bars and restaurants down south. And I had an opportunity to pick this up and do a great deal here. So I'm in the process of getting here by the end of the year. So my ask of you guys is if there's something I can do to possibly get an exception and be able to do something with the lot, because we just put a fence around it. I just redid the electric. There's a 200 and a 400 amp panel, enough for like 3 or 4 houses, because all the people who have tents use our electric for Bike Week and Biketoberfest. So they pay us to use our electric in that area. So I just redid the whole thing because it was falling apart. I reboxed it, refenced the whole thing. If you guys get a chance, you can take a look at it. And I just wanted to come here and say hello and introduce myself and see if there was something we could do.
What does he want?
Rose, because he is outside of the Bike Week master plan, he has to come here to ask you all if he will be allowed to participate in that process because he was not here.
Right, the master plan was approved.
How long you own the property?
I just bought it July 1st. It's been 33 days since I've been working on it. Yeah.
They're willing to work. She's willing to
So
work.
Rose is willing to work with it?
But it has to
Do
go.
I have 3 other people that are willing to say yes?
Yes.
Yes, let's go, man. Let's get it done.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
So just reach out to her tomorrow.
I'll give her a call tomorrow.
Make it happen, brother.
Yep, absolutely.
Welcome.
I was voted best cheesesteak in 2009 by Fox 29 News.
Oh, I'm gonna bring my wife and get
I had a
some
place
real
on Broad
cheese.
Street,
Oh,
2510
we're
South
gonna
Broad Street.
see. She likes that. Okay.
So it's gonna be great. I'll let you
I
guys
don't
know
like it.
where we go.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're very happy about that. Before we go, I do want to say this. I want to remind us as a community, let's make sure that we are kind to people who are unhoused. There have been some very disturbing and awful reports that we have citizens and residents who are being mean, ruthless, and outright nasty and demonic towards people who are unhoused. Now, we will not, as a community, accept that. That's not something that we will accept. So I want to encourage those of us who are here to be a help, not a hindrance. Thank you, and good night.